15-year-old girl in a new town
She was struggling with the move.
disappears without a trace.
I knew something was not right. Something bad happened.
With no witnesses to turn to.
What do you have? What can you look for?
Only the cameras can piece together what happened.
We knew at that point that this was a serious crime and probable abduction.
I get it cracking like a bam bam.
15-year-old Sierra is the joyful heartbeat of the Lamar family.
Sierra was always very charismatic. Her gift was to lift people up when they were down. She tended to have this great, beautiful smile that people were attracted to, and she liked the attention.
She's outgoing, fun-loving, always was goofing around with her friends. But then also she had kind of a soft, serious side.
Every young girl always has a little bit of insecurities, but for the most part, she was confident and didn't let what other people thought change who she was or how she acted.
Sierra grew up in Fremont, but 5 months ago she moved with her mom 35 miles away to a new town.
I got divorced and met somebody, and we moved to Morgan Hill. I just wanted the change. I liked that it was a big house and, you know, a fresh start.
The separation between our parents wasn't easy for either of us, you know. Sierra and my mom definitely had their ups and downs. If they disagreed about something, would fight it out.
I think if you get to the root of those fights, it was just that problem of not wanting to move down there, wanting to stay in Fremont where her friends were.
She was struggling with the move, and there were a lot of times where Sarah would just be texting me saying, like, man, like, you know, like, I wish I were in Fremont. Like, this is just, like, she would just express her feelings as any 15-year-old would.
Like every typical teenager, Sierra is addicted to social media.
She would take my laptop and literally record so many videos of her just, like, doing the randomest things.
Okay.
It's honestly so hard to explain how goofy she was if you just didn't see her in person.
It's 6 a.m. on Friday morning, and Marlene is heading to work as a physical therapist.
Before I left, every morning, I would tell her I love her. We were in a new house in a new town. I just felt like I needed her to know that she's not alone. And I left for work. She would normally walk out the cul-de-sac, and then there was a bus stop about 500 feet away. It was on, like, farmland. The high school was about 5 or 10 minutes away driving time.
At the end of her workday, Marlene heads home.
And every time I left the parking lot, I would call her and just kind of check in with her. She was usually at school at the bus stop, waiting to be picked up. And she didn't answer. I checked all the rooms in the house. She wasn't taking a nap in her room. I was a little angry, like, why isn't she answering the phone? Is it because she's with a friend and she didn't let me know?
Marlene contacts the school and finds that Sierra did not attend that day. She immediately calls Sierra's dad, Steve, in Fremont, but he has not heard from her either.
She sounded mad, and she assumed that Sierra went with her friends somewhere after school and didn't tell her. We talked a little bit and decided that she should ask around and try to contact some of her friends to see if, you know, she was with them. I said that I would hang up and come down there to Morgan Hill.
I got a call from her mom, which was odd. All I could hear was her sobbing, and she was asking if she was with me. And immediately I was like, no, she's not. I don't think I'd received, a single text from her that day.
I was extremely frantic and worried. I kept dialing Sierra in panic mode because I just kept hoping that she would answer the phone.
Let's go straight to her voicemail.
I knew something was not right, so I contacted the police.
Sheriff's Office dispatch.
Yeah, I'm concerned. My daughter's missing, and she didn't show up at school, and we're worried that she was abducted.
Okay, that's okay. I'm going to get some information, and then we're going to have a deputy come and talk to you, okay?
Okay.
What's your daughter's name?
Sierra Lamar.
Do you happen to know what she was wearing this morning?
Actually, no, because I leave for work, and then she gets dressed.
She gets dressed?
For school, yeah.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Marlene Lamar.
We get so many missing person reports, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and normally had an argument with their parent. They're staying at a friend's house and they don't want to be in communication. And within a couple hours or so, they call their parents or they show up back home.
They sent a police officer to the house, and he started asking about, is there a reason why she might have been angry, that she might have left, to know about her activities in Morgan Hill and who she hung out with. And then he was explaining that you have to be missing for so many hours to be considered missing.
I was just hoping she was with a boy and didn't want to tell us, and that she wasn't just being a rebellious teenager. But thought it was weird, why wouldn't she respond to me at least?
It's now been 24 hours since Sierra was last seen. She is officially logged as a missing person. Investigators canvass the area and interview Sierra's friends.
I started to realize it was getting serious when the police interrogate me, about her running away. They immediately jumped to that because of how unhappy she was in Morgan Hill.
I interviewed all of her friends. They were all very afraid, very scared. And I remember asking them, what do you think happened to Sierra? Do you think she ran away?
Tell me some of the things that you and Sierra talked about.
She would basically just tell me about how she was from Fremont and just how she missed living over there. She would complain about how her mom would make her turn off her phone at 9 and just be strict on her. And she would talk about running away. To be honest with you, she told me a couple times she wanted to run away, but...
Detectives now start to build a picture of Sierra's exact movements that day.
When we respond to a missing person call, we want to establish a timeline. When was the last time the missing person was seen by somebody, so we can establish that time. We knew that Marlene saw Sierra in her room at 6 o'clock in the morning. And about 7:10, she sent her last text message to a friend.
In Sierra's last message, she arranged to meet up with a friend before school to exchange homework and makeup.
So it showed she had plans. It didn't show a child that was planning to run away.
Ready for school, Sierra leaves the house.
She was due to walk to the bus stop to catch the bus at 7:25.
Sierra has less than half a mile walk from her door to the bus stop.
So we started looking for any type of surveillance in the area.
But her bus stop is in the middle of nowhere. There are no cameras, except for one.
The bus that Sierra rode on had a surveillance system on it.
And it gives detectives their first look at what happened to Sierra. Investigators searching for missing 15-year-old Sierra Lamar hope the camera from her school bus will help find her.
Sierra's school bus actually came equipped with a surveillance video that would show everyone getting on and off the bus.
Detectives load up the playback from the morning she went missing and cue it to 7:25 a.m. when Sierra is usually picked up. She's the only student to use this bus stop, and so far there is no sign of her. They switch to the interior camera as Sierra's stop approaches.
The bus pulls up approximately 7:25 in the morning at the bus stop, and there's no Sierra at all. She never made it to that bus stop. She was never picked up.
After messaging her friend at 7:11 a.m., Sierra left the house, but never reached the bus stop.
The video from the school bus established was that Sierra never got onto the school bus. It fixed a small window from when her mother left her at home to when she should have been on the school bus.
Detectives hope that Sierra's online activity may give a clue to where she went.
He wanted to know if she was active with social media, and I said yes. And he wanted to know specifically what accounts. That would be Twitter and Facebook.
It's unbelievable how much information is on social media. Especially when you're 15, 16 years old, social media is pretty much your life. Sierra Lamar woke up, got ready for school, and about 7, she took a selfie picture on her computer.
She posts it to social media. This is the last known image of Sierra.
What do you have? What can you look for? Now, we had a photograph of Sierra wearing that sweatshirt the day she disappeared. This is the clothing Sierra was wearing.
It added to the seriousness, knowing that we have a Facebook image of her dressed and ready wearing a Sharks jersey, and then nothing after that.
At just after 7 a.m., Sierra's social media activity abruptly stops.
This young girl was on social media every single day, hours at a time. So for her to go off the grid completely, it wasn't right.
Detectives are starting to suspect this isn't just another teenage runaway.
We knew at that point that this was a serious crime and probable abduction.
I never believed that she would run away, and she wouldn't do something that hurtful to her immediate family. So I knew deep down that was never the case.
Local and national media take an interest in Sierra's disappearance.
We can't confirm that she voluntarily ran away, nor can we confirm that there was a crime involved.
Can't believe that she would not contact her friends and let them know that she's okay and do this. She would never want us to go through all this pain.
Important in any investigation is support from the media. They're putting the information out, and potentially we could get information that would be helpful. We have to do everything that we can to solve the case, to find Sierra.
With the media spreading the word, police begin a large-scale search centered on Sierra's home.
The studies have shown that you have to find them fast. And on that Saturday, we had approximately 300 mutual aid searchers in the area.
While officers and volunteers search, detectives follow other potential leads.
In this case, there are approximately 250 sex offenders in a 5-mile circumference around where Sierra lived.
They need to be tracked down and interviewed.
We had, I believe, possibly 20 teams of 2 officers. We started with a mile out first and then increased a mile further each time and contacted each and every one of those sex offenders that we could locate.
But it's a dead end.
We were able to clear all of them. None of them fit that time period. Their alibis were solid.
Then Quinones receives a call that shakes the case.
I decided that I should tell him about my charge and conviction that I had. I was a registered sex offender, and that I wanted him to know that instead of him, doing the background check and finding out anyway. I thought it would be better and more efficient for the investigation to focus more on Sierra and finding Sierra.
Steve Lamar was placed on the offenders register in 2009 after being convicted of lewd and lascivious acts. He served a 1-year sentence for the misdemeanor.
He lost a daughter, so he was very, very cooperative through all phases of the investigation, and that made it very easy for us to do solid verifications on his alibi.
Detectives confirm that Steve was at work 20 miles away the day Sierra disappeared. He is eliminated as a suspect. Along with family and friends back in Fremont, he does all he can to find his daughter.
I wanted to find some kind of evidence or something, but I didn't want to find Sierra. I was still hoping she was alive at that point.
Please come home. You're not in trouble. Everyone wants to see you.
In Morgan Hill, the community also comes together to find one of their own.
We never expected so many people to want to help, donate, people that also have daughters of their own, sisters of their own. We just felt the need to help, and it helped our family a lot to see so much support.
It's just weird that none of us have any idea or can think of anything that she's recently told us.
Everyone deep down had hoped that we would find her.
Sierra has vanished. But suddenly, at 3:45 a.m. on that Saturday, her phone sparks to life.
We started getting some intermittent pings on the phone at a certain cell tower about a mile away from Sierra's residence. But it would come on for a second, it was gone.
Okay, we're missing something.
Was Sierra trying to turn her phone on? Was the abductor, taking the phone away from her? We didn't know, but we did know that that phone registered a ping.
I know we're so close. What could it be?
The pinging cell tower is half a mile north of Sierra's home. Detectives immediately direct the search team to the area.
It's a large open field, tall grass. It had rained all night the night before, and the search team located the phone. It was in the middle of this field, lying there.
They asked me to identify her phone when they recovered it. I immediately burst into tears and my heart sank because I knew that she would not voluntarily toss her phone. She was pretty much attached to that phone.
That really hit us. Sierra is not somewhere she wants to be right now if she left her phone.
After further investigation and analysis of the phone, we believe that a liquid intrusion was tricking the phone to thinking it was going to charge, and it would turn on and then shut back off.
Finding Sierra's discarded phone is the last proof needed that she has been abducted. Detectives go back to the videos from the school bus to search for more clues.
You have a 15-year-old child, female, walking this distance. She does this every day, Monday through Friday. Predators pay attention to this, and they look for an opportunity.
If Sierra was being followed, could her abductor be caught on camera? 15-year-old Sierra Lamar has been missing for over 30 hours. Detectives are checking surveillance footage from her school bus for signs that she was abducted. They first check the footage from the day before she went missing.
The bus arrives at 7:25. Sierra's at the bus stop, wearing her red Converse. The door's open. And Sierra gets on the bus, says good morning, has a small conversation with the bus driver. She has a seat, and the bus takes off. She was like any other kid, just waiting for the bus. Says hi, very friendly girl. There was nothing there that struck me as a concern.
Detectives then forward the tape to 3:15 p.m. when Sierra arrives back home.
When the bus did drop her off, there was a lot of communication from the people on the bus. Saying goodbye to her. She was happy. It was a normal day for her.
They scour the footage from the rest of the week, looking for any sign that she is being followed.
There was nothing striking us as this child has some problems.
There's no sign of anyone following her. Detectives are running out of leads. It's been 2 days since Sierra disappeared. Officers continued to canvass the area as local volunteers joined the police to help bolster the search efforts.
We talked to many, many people. We were also doing forensic searches. We were doing cell phone searches. So there were a lot of tangents that really served to eliminate a lot of people.
Then finally, a breakthrough from one of the search teams.
They searched 2 miles from Sierra's house. They came across this rural road where there were 3 buildings used as a storage. They found Sierra's bag. Inside the bag were all of Sierra's clothing, shoes, socks, underwear, pants, and all of her school belongings. And it was the same sweatshirt that she took that selfie picture on the day she disappeared. So it was a huge find for us.
Sierra's clothes are swabbed for DNA and sent to the lab for analysis.
There was debris, not just dirt. There was a form of lichen. We had a botanist come in and explain this to us and told us that this particular type of lichen grows in certain areas and you need some sort of a water source close by. That's how this grows. There was also glass road beads that are used for reflection on a roadway. So that's telling us Sierra was drugged down a road and then through an area where this particular lichen grows.
We searched every pond in the area, sent up our helicopter to search with infrared camera looking for body, because bodies decomposing cast off heat. The radius would be 300 miles, about half the state of California. We never found her.
Sierra's family hold regular vigils.
I had hope just because I refused to believe that my daughter was dead. When I believed she was gone until I saw her body.
I realized how important that was just to keep us going and keep our spirits up. I still remember being hopeful somehow she would walk in and have some kind of explanation.
You feel a little bit helpless and wondering, how is this happening? Like, is this real? I still thought Sierra's out there, like someone has her or someone is with her.
The results from the DNA swabs taken from Sierra's clothing have come back.
DNA evidence that was found on the pants to indicate somebody else's bodily fluids were there. They entered it into the CODIS system.
The crime lab came back identifying a 21-year-old male from Morgan Hill.
DNA found on Sierra Lamar's discarded jeans has been identified.
Our DNA match was to a 21-year-old arborist who used to work for Safeway.
The suspect is Antolin Garcia Torres.
It gave us someone that we believed had had no prior contact with Sierra. His DNA should not have been there. He was not a schoolmate, he was not a friend.
The fluid had been identified as seminal fluid, ejaculate. But it proves that he was in intimate contact with those pants.
Detectives now have a suspect.
At that point, we really had to determine, was he known to Sierra? Is he someone that she had come in contact with? Just because you find DNA is not enough to arrest someone for homicide. We had to develop additional information that would show that he was the perpetrator of this abduction.
Hoping that Torres might still be holding Sierra captive, they immediately set up 24-hour surveillance, wiretapped Torres's phone, and put a tracker on his car.
We were holding out hopes that we would find Sierra alive. Is he still holding her? What are his everyday movements? We began many different forms of surveillance on Antolin Garcia Torres because we wanted to see if he would go somewhere where she might be.
Torres lives with his girlfriend and their daughter in an RV park 7 miles from Sierra's home. Posing as a couple, undercover officers move into an adjacent trailer.
And they spent every minute of the day following him around, hoping she was still alive. Maybe he would do something to lead us to her.
The trailer park where Torres is staying gives detectives another potential lead.
We identified that the trailer park had a surveillance camera capturing every vehicle coming and going.
A single camera covers the entrance to the trailer park. Detectives queue up the footage to the morning of March 16th, the day Sierra disappeared. As the sun rises, Torres's distinctive red VW Jetta leaves the park.
On the date of Sierra's disappearance, that Antolin Garcia Torres drove out of the trailer park at 8 a.m.
Sierra was abducted between 7:11 a.m. and 7:25 a.m. The trailer park footage appears to immediately clear Torres. He was still at home at the time. But detectives make a vital discovery.
We were able to establish that that camera had a live timestamp of 1 hour ahead. A lot of people don't adjust their cameras to daylight savings time. So the actual time when we saw Antolin Garcia Torres drive out, although the timestamp said 8 a.m., in fact, it's 7 a.m. We know that Sierra last communication was at 7:10. The drive from Antolin's residence to Sierra's residence is between 10 to 15 minutes. This would put Antolin Garcia Torres right in the location of where Sierra was abducted, at the right time when Sierra would leave the residence to go catch her bus. We knew he had a job, but we were able to obtain his time card, and he did not work on that Friday. But he left like he would normally leave to go to work at 7 a.m.
They fast forward and watch for Torres's Jetta to return home. And accounting for the 1 hour error of the timestamp, see it at 12:57 p.m. A window of 5 hours.
The timing is perfect for him to be there. My gut feeling when I watched the video was that this is looking more and more like this young man is associated to this case.
It's been 6 days since detectives started surveillance on Antolin Garcia Torres.
A person who kidnaps and abducts somebody, if they're going to keep them alive, they are going to keep them where they can go back and continue the abuse. There was no evidence of that found by our detectives, our surveillance teams. At this point, I do not believe she is alive.
We made a decision that we need to go talk to him. We need to let him know that he's on our radar.
Quinones and another detective go to speak to Torres at his trailer park.
We wanted to make a consensual encounter with him, let him control the interview.
How you doing? Do you have time to talk a little bit?
This was a young man who was very confident, cocky, if you will. He was looking through us like he was smarter than us, straight sociopath.
Doing an investigation, right? And that's what we wanted to talk to you about because that's why we're here. All right. So you're not under arrest. You don't even have to talk to us if you don't want.
I would like you to get to the point.
Well, the point is, you know that little, that case we're investigating with the teenage girl that went missing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know the girl we're talking about then, right?
The one on the picture?
The one on the pictures, all the flyers, okay. But is there any reason that anyone would say that somehow you and her had a relationship going?
I doubt it. Why?
I doubt it. Why? That's the exact expression he gave. And this is where Torres separates himself. I don't know her. There's no reason for us to ever come in contact with each other.
The first time I ever seen her was when I seen her on the news.
That was perfect for us. He's completely distancing himself from Sierra.
Surveillance cameras that are in.
Detectives hold off arresting Torres, hoping he might still lead them to Sierra's whereabouts.
Maybe there was a chance, because now he knows he's on our radar. He would do something to lead us to her. 3 days later, we made the decision we're going to bring him in for an interview, and we're going to get a search warrant for his residence, and we were seizing his vehicle.
I need to know everything you did on Friday, March 16th. Yeah.
I'm fishing. I left my house maybe 7:10, 7:20. And got up there around 8. And then after that, cashed my check, went to the gas station.
On the day Sierra went missing, you stated you left your house. You actually left your house about 7:01 in the morning.
Yeah, I would have left 7:10 around there.
And you stated you went straight down the road. You were in cruise control. You blew by Live Oak and you went, oops, I better turn here. Now you turn on Palm.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Antolin Garcia Torres just put himself dead smack in the middle of our crime scene of the abduction of Sierra Lamar at the exact same time that we believed he was going to be there. He puts himself right there.
Quinones continues to press Torres for information.
I asked him, is there any reason why we would find your DNA?
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing.
And he comes up with this story that he's very embarrassed to tell us.
Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. I do masturbate in my car, so.
He enjoys masturbating in his vehicle.
I do have napkins in my car for when I do masturbate.
Okay.
So I could just not get it on me and throw it out. That's the only way my DNA would get out there that I would think so.
That's probably how his DNA would be out there somewhere.
Quinones drills Torres for specific details about his movements that day.
Where's this check cashing for, sir?
Called Bank of America.
Detectives head straight to the Bank of America that Torres claims to have visited that day.
We know that we can obtain video from a bank. And then we got our next big break.
Detectives are tracing the movements of Antolin Garcia Torres, a suspect in the abduction of Sierra Lamar.
We were able to locate video surveillance from a Bank of America right down the street from Antolin Garcia Torres' residence.
Detectives line up the footage to the time Torres claims to have cashed a check.
And sure enough, he does go to the bank at 12:53 p.m. That's about 6 hours from the time he left his residence.
They check his movements from other angles.
He walks in, he's wearing a dark t-shirt, cargo pants, and work boots.
Then they try the widest camera and spot something.
You can see the bottom portion of his pants are a little darker than the top portion. We weren't sure if that was water, mud, or just the shadows.
It appears that Torres went near water during the 5 hours directly after Sierra went missing.
That was really a critical piece of evidence because it was supportive of what we believed that Sierra could possibly be by a body of water.
Detectives then make a shocking discovery about Torres's past.
Once we've got the DNA match, we obviously had to do a background on that individual. And part of his background included that he had worked at the Safeway grocery store in Morgan Hill.
A couple of years before Sierra was abducted, there had been 2 attempted abductions in a shopping center in Morgan Hill. Those went unsolved. No suspect was ever identified.
Precisely where Torres was working at the time.
It was like a big light bulb just going on in our heads. I remember pulling up a composite over the internet from the Morgan Hill Dispatch website and looking at the pictures, and it's like, this is him? You know, it was such a remarkable likeness to the composite drawing.
And because of that, we really spent a lot of time investigating those and talking with the victims. But one big key piece of evidence, in one of them, he had dropped a taser. He had attempted to use a stun gun type of device to immobilize the victim, and he dropped it at the scene. When we opened up the battery compartment, we were able to get a fingerprint off the battery. But the fingerprint was not of such quality or a big enough sample of the print to be able to be automated in the system.
Now, with Torres identified as a suspect, forensics checked the fingerprint again.
And we had one of our internal fingerprint experts look at that partial print, and they were able to match it positively to Antolin Garcia Torres.
This discovery suggests Torres could be a serial predator.
Based on the different cases from the Safeway stores, based on the time between there and the Sierra Lamar case, my thought was he's progressed over time. We couldn't allow him to do this again.
As the evidence mounts, forensics come back from Torres's car.
Big hit from the DNA was the rear doors. Sierra's DNA was on the handle. And one of the items from the trunk was a large rope. There was a single strand hair that was on the rope that was a match to Sierra. And then there was a set of gloves that contained Sierra's DNA.
The DNA evidence places Sierra inside Torres's car.
This was huge because he distanced himself from Sierra. There's no way that they could be around each other, in contact with each other, nothing. But yet we have Sierra in the vehicle. We made a decision to arrest Antolin and take him down.
DNA evidence links 21-year-old.
66 days after Sierra's disappearance, officers arrest Torres. He is charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder.
Under 24-hour surveillance.
And he said, really? That was his response.
I just remember watching it on the news and wondering, who is this guy? I have no idea who this is. What made their paths cross?
I do have a plea to the perpetrator to please give the information if you have, that you have to lead us to Sierra to help end this nightmare. It didn't really give me any type of peace other than that this person is not going to be out in the community doing it to another child.
We need to bring Sierra home. We thought we would find out where Sierra was and finally get the answers that we really want.
But Torres won't confess, so police can only speculate as to what happened to Sierra. It is likely Torres studied her daily pattern and intercepted her in his car while she was on her way to the bus stop.
We were able to take this case in front of a jury and try this man and convict him of murder with no body.
Torres is found guilty of first-degree murder, as well as kidnapping attempts on 3 other women. He is sentenced to life without parole.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind we have the right man. No doubt at all.
Torres never reveals where Sierra's body lies.
I can be satisfied that the predator is in prison. I cannot be satisfied that we've never been able to find Sierra.
We don't know what he did with her. He won't tell us. Only Antolin knows.
I think he has no intention of saying anything. I feel that he doesn't have a conscience.
Because it doesn't benefit him or help him in any way. It's not going to give us that.
Police and the community continue to search for Sierra's final resting place, but she is never found.
We'll always have that emptiness inside us because we miss Sierra. Will be painful as long as we're here on Earth.
Even though I went to see her friends and they went to see us, it's just hard because you see how their life is. You wonder how Sierra would have turned out and what she could have accomplished.
There was a moment when I looked at her photo and seeing a peaceful smile kind of gave me the answer that I needed, which was that she was no longer suffering, that she had moved on, and that she was no longer alive.
Sierra would be 24 now. She'd still be the friendly person that she's always been. It's just very few people, I think, that could make me laugh the way that she did. I think that's what I miss most about her.